Thanks for listening to The Professional Edge. My name's Sean Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner, and we're on our retirement flight. You being the pilot of your own retirement, you are in constant contact with the control tower, a registered investment advisor to keep you on track so you are getting from point A to point B during this flight called retirement, or on approach to your safe and secure retirement, meaning you're working, you have 2 to 5 years to get done and get ready to land this retirement flight and be in that safe and secure environment. So let's get back to our in-flight. So during the flight on a pilot, there might be a diversion, meaning a storm. And what do we need to do? Well, we contact control and they say, wow, yes, that is a storm. That's the same as change in economics. And what adjustments do we need to make? Do we need to slow down, meaning pull back your investment portfolio risk? Or do we need to divert, meaning we're going to go west and change the vectors? Well, with that, then that means we're going to change our investment portfolio as we look at the economics. And let's say we get out of interest rate sensitive investments when we see that the Fed from 2022 was on an unprecedented rate of raising rates. Well, what investments did you reallocate, or should you have reallocated in a rising rate environment? Because some investments are highly sensitive to an interest rate rising environment through the Fed. And now the Fed has hit pause. And there are pundits which say, oh, the Fed's going to continue to raise rates because of inflation. Well, it depends. What numbers are in play? And what is your plan being the pilot of your retirement flight? Well, why don't you get some professional counsel and advice? The 1-800 number, if you're doing it there, you're just a number. That person actually doesn't know you. You're going to a 1-800 call center, and they're just sort of winging it based on a sort of model portfolio. They don't really know you. They don't know the tax consequence. They don't know your estate planning. Have they done the analysis to see what is the best way to make distributions from your portfolio, your 401k, your after-tax income, making a Social Security election early or later? Well, those are all there to have in your analysis. So not doing that analysis, you're probably leaving some money on the table. And being a tax attorney and a CPA, well, if you're not being tax efficient, which is a very big drag, you could be losing up to 30% on any distribution that you're making that is a pre-tax distribution. That would be a costly mistake, and therefore you're having to withdraw additional dollars before you can spend those dollars to fund your safe and secure retirement. Well, at Estate Management Counselors, we do run those numbers to see what makes the most efficient sense, tax-wise, investment-wise, risk-wise, and to see and make sure that your retirement flight is as safe as possible so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy retirement just like a retirement flight. So again, you as the pilot of your retirement flight need to be in constant contact with the control tower. That is your registered investment advisor. That is a fiduciary. And what does that mean? Well, as a fiduciary, you receive best interest advice. There's a law which requires a registered investment advisor to provide the client with what is in the client's best interest, not what is a suitable investment like a broker. That's their standard, just suitable versus best interest. Well, if it's my money, I want to be receiving the best advice and what is in my best interest. So if you're working with a stockbroker or 1-800 firm, guess what? They may or may not, usually not, be a fiduciary, and all they got to do is recommend suitable investments. Well, again, it's time to make that change. And if you're not receiving income tax advice from a licensed professional, again, a 1-800 number or a stockbroker is not licensed to give tax advice. Look at the little fine print on your account statement. It says, always consult your tax professional because they are not licensed to give that advice. You and I both know that any financial decision that you make has to take into account the tax implications to make the best financial decision. It's just good counsel and advice. So if you're not getting that, that might be the impetus to give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798, and see exactly what's going on in your retirement flight. You may have a couple years to retirement, and again, are you going to pay down your debt? Are we going to change houses? How much do we need to fund your safe and secure retirement? What's your risk allocation? How far has your variance in returns been in your portfolio? When was the last time you looked at your portfolio objectively? Well, a lot of people just fear freezes them, which is only natural. It's a human instinct. If we see a bear, boom, oh my goodness, we're going to freeze. Well, let's not freeze. Let's go ahead and again, if you see that bear or you're a pilot on this flight and you see the storm, we don't need to freeze. That's the worst thing we can do, is not make an adjustment. Well, let's go ahead, get down to control. Control's right there looking at the scenario. They've been through it before hundreds of times, hundreds of flights, and we have worked with hundreds of retirees to get them from point A, point B. We've seen storm clouds. We've been here for the tech wreck. We've been here for the 07 to 09 real estate debacle. And now we have this rising rate environment, historically high inflation. So what do we need to do? Well, we take a look and see exactly what's going on in the flight. Well, here's the storm clouds. What do we need to do to make the change? So we then make the analysis, calculate it, and we reallocate the portfolio based on the change in circumstances. It's that straightforward. Making those changes, being a registered investment advisor, we don't get compensated for moving and changing investments. We're on a fee basis. So we can make 100 changes. We get paid nothing. What we do is we are on a fee basis. So if the client does better, we do better. So we have a vested interest in their success. So if that's not the level of counsel and advice that you're receiving, do give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. So now we're into that last leg of the flight. We are on approach. What does that mean? Well, it could be you are in retirement. You're funding your age 70, 71, listening here on the Professional Edge, or you are 62, 63. You're on approach. You're getting ready for retirement, for touchdown. You don't not communicate with Control Tower. Control Tower is going to tell you what the wind is, whether you're on approach, what number on the landing you're going to be. And that is exactly what we at estate management counselors do to make sure you're on track, make sure the wheels are down, meaning you have things in place. You're going to be able to fund that first couple, 3 years of retirement. Even if the market does something haywire, you are okay to continue on your approach and analyze that. A lot of individuals, when they get to that 2-year point before retirement, start really clamping down and not wanting any risk in their portfolio. But you got to remember, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever perspective you want to have, you're the first generation which has to plan for 20 years in retirement. That means you need to stay as an investor, continue up with the spendable rate of your portfolio to fund your safe and secure retirement, to make sure you have the same purchasing power you do today 20 years from now. And also, is your portfolio going to last that 20 years of retirement? Well, we run the analysis. That is the Control Tower, to make sure you're on approach, make sure things are okay, and you're going through that checklist as you're going to plan. Yes, there is a checklist which says wheels down. It is as simple as that. With everything going on as a pilot of your retirement flight, we got to make sure your wheels are down, which means when you land for retirement, are we okay to continue down that runway? We're not just going to have the brakes on when we land, because that would create an accident. So the wheels being down is there is enough safe and secure liquidity to fund the first couple years of retirement. That's landing on the landing strip. So we make that analysis, make sure things are in order, make sure things are in place. And yes, we may be accumulating that during the first couple of years or the last couple of years of your retirement working. So we're on approach, we're there. And then the next thing is taxes. You may have some deferred comp. What are we going to do with that? Are we going to turn it on? Are we going to turn Social Security on as soon as you retire? Those are the checklists for that approach to make sure we have a plan to make sure you get that safe and secure retirement that's being in constant contact with the control tower. As you get ready to come down and land on that retirement flight, the next thing we need to do is always look at your estate plan. Have your decision makers changed? What kind of changes in beneficiary designations do we need to make for your 401k? Or once you retire and you move that to a rollover IRA, are your beneficiary designations correct? Or did you fail to do that? Because that is a severe tax consequence, because an estate has a zero life. You have a 5-year tax time bomb. But if we name the spouse, then we can do a spousal rollover, defer that tax consequence. So again, you're controlling one of your largest financial assets by a simple beneficiary designation. Being a tax attorney and done over 2,500 estate plans, we coordinate that for our clients as well. So again, being a listener here on the Professional Edge, I want to thank you for listening in on your retirement flight. Give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. Be sure to check out our website, our offer to our listeners here on the Professional Edge, and that is emcthebundle.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie, thebundle.com. And again, appreciate you listening to the Professional Edge. More episodes coming up and more segments to bring value to you, our listeners.